Hello everyone, welcome to my civil engineering YouTube channel. Please subscribe to this channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when I post my new videos. So today we'll be discussing what are different curing methods adopted in construction practices. So basically, curing of concrete is a very important factor in the construction of any of the RC related structures, since it is a very important factor which depends on characteristic strength of concrete, permeability, durability of the structure, etc. So, further, it is also required to do the curing at right time, and sufficient period of curing is very important to achieve exact properties of the concrete. Curing of concrete is done to avoid evaporation of the water from the concrete and when it is getting hardened, and also to maintain moisture in the concrete surface for hydration reaction. So coming on to different methods of curing of concrete, the first and foremost is water curing, or it is also called as ponding. So here, in case of water curing, this method is done by application of the water on the surface of the concrete in order to avoid drying of the concrete. So usually this method is very frequently used in all the construction practices in the building or any of the curing of the floor slab, etc. So here, when you take up ponding of the concrete, continuously wetting of the concrete surface is done in this method without allowing concrete surface to dry. Almost or most of the time, a curb is cast all around the slab, which helps to pond the relevant area. So you can just observe in this pictorial representation, the curb is casted so that throughout the slab, all around the slab, so that there will be some water which will be remain stagnant in that relevant surface, so that the surface remains wet without dry. So all the flat surfaces can be cured by effectively by this method. So this method predominantly is used for curing only the horizontal surfaces. So next method is wet curing method. So in this wet curing method, it is the method of maintaining the soil surface moisture level by placing the materials like gunny bags or jute bags, etc. So using gunny bags is very common in this method. You can just observe the two pictorial representation. One, it is on the staircase and one on the column. So this these covering shall place on the concrete surface, which hardens enough to work to please covers. So further, the drying of the concrete shall not be allowed due to any reason. So therefore, this curing is done by the help of wet gunny bags. So this type of curing, it is done for both the horizontal as well as the vertical surface effectively. So when you take up the water curing, or that is called as ponding in particular, it is done only for the horizontal surface, but whereas in case of wet curing, it is done for both horizontal as well as vertical surface. Now next type of curing is formwork curing. So formwork curing, you can just see that in the pictorial representation. So formwork is the most effective curing agent in the concrete, especially in thick concrete structures where the hydration temperature is very high. So this method is adopted. So further, not cost involved, as cost is already covered under the formwork. There is no extra cost which can be bared for this curing, because it is already comes under the formwork itself. So therefore, it can also be considered to be economic method for curing larger dimensional structures. So when you opt this type of curing method, when there is a risk of cracking due to the heat of hydration in the larger structures, So the variation of or due to the variation of concrete surface, this type of curing is more safe. So therefore, formwork curing is adopted for larger dimensional structures. So thickness placing of formwork depends on grade of concrete and thickness of the column also. So how much amount of thickness of the formwork, what type of material we need to place for the formwork, all that depends on what is a grade of concrete which is used for the structure, as well as what is the thickness of the column which is used in the structure. So both is interdependent. So next type of curing is membrane curing. So membrane is formed on the concrete surface to avoid evaporation of the moisture in the concrete. So basically there are two types of membranes which is taken to be used for membrane curing, that is water based as well as oil based. But when you take up in general, water based curing membranes are more frequently and more popularly used than oil based. So therefore, in order to make in intact position the moisture in an intact position, so membrane curing technique is used in an effective way. So this is all about membrane curing. So next is sheet curing. So you can just see there are three pictorial representations. So one is there are basically three types of sheet curing sheet curing methods. So first one based on the material which we are going to use. So first one is polythene sheet. So that is the first representation here. It is mentioned on the picture itself. So second one is plastic sheet curing, and third one is curing blankets. So as in case of plastic curing, so here polythene sheets, that is in polythene sheet curing. So polythene sheets are used to cover the concrete slabs and columns. So the sheet can be placed on the slab after it get hardens. So that is all about polythene sheet curing. But as in case of plastic sheets, it can also be used for covering the plastic sheets. It is used to cover for flat surfaces. It is a watertight and less low weight material, that is less self weight, and in addition to that it is very easy to handle. So compared to polythene sheets, it is in a bigger length, but plastic sheet it is of lesser length and it is easy to handle. In addition to that, one more curing technique that we have used for sheet curing, it is curing blankets. So as in case of curing blankets, they are used as protection to newly placed concrete. So it does the same thing as the another type of sheet. So there is a nil evaporation of the moisture from concrete surface will exist. So this is all about sheet curing technique or sheet curing method. So next is heat absorption by pipe water method. So here it is a pictorial. The first picture represents the pictorial representation how the technique is, and second is used in the field conditions. So here you can just see the pictorial representation. This is the blue color which represents. So here you can just observe this blue color. So pipe which is set inside the concrete to absorb heat. The water is circulated in the concrete and it absorbs heat of concrete which is present inside the structure. Especially it is used for thick concrete which is made of higher grade, used for the construction. So this method is more suitable for larger dimensions, and it is used to reduce the core temperature of the structure. So however, these methods shall be used for much care, as there are sudden change in the temperature could cause cracking in the concrete. So continuous monitoring of the temperature of water also provides an idea about the internal temperature. So based on the observations, the flow rate of the water inside the pipe will be adjusted. So therefore, this is also the very useful method. But when you compare with another other methods which is discussed so far, this is one of the costly method compared to the other methods which is discussed so far. So these are some of the very important methods which are adopted for curing based on the suitable conditions which are available in the site. Thank you for watching. Please like, share and subscribe the video. Thank you.